Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is the 9 o'clock hour right here on Rapid Television. My name is Martha Allen.
My name is Victor. Okay, welcome to the big conversation today.
Like this morning, we did point out that Osun State has been very interesting in the last 48 hours.
Mm.
And, Nigeria generally says a lot, or that election says a lot about Nigeria's democracy. And so Osun State made their decision. That Saturday, Governor Ademola Adeleke of the Accord Party has been declared winner of Saturday's election, securing his second term after polling 511,067 votes, defeating his closest rival, Bola Oyebamiji of the APC, who scored 444,815 votes. Najim Salam of the ADC came third, and the result was also announced early on Sunday morning by the returning officer, Professor Joshua Ogunwole, at the INEC Coalition Center in Oshobo, bringing months of campaigning, premonitions, tensions, and one keenly contested race to a close. Now, it's a very historic outcome in more ways than one. This marks the Accords Party first ever governorship win in Osun State. Because as a matter of fact, this party became more popular in the state when Ademola Adeleke had moved from the PDP with which he won the first term to the ADC, to Accord Party, now that he'll be running for his second term. So it's a second mandate from the people, this time decisively. And this morning, we're taking stock of it all. The numbers, the reactions, and what this result means, not just for the Osun people, but for the political landscape heading towards 2027. And so, of course, joining us today is Dr. Andrew Adaji, and he's the Programs Manager at TAF Africa. Welcome, Dr. Adaji, and thanks for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, listeners and viewers.
All right.
Good morning to you.
Dr. Adaji, stepping away from Saturday's event, in Osun State, how would you assess the overall conduct of the election on Saturday?
Yes, so the before, during, and after. Before the election, it was tensed. There were lots of pressure on INEC and the security
hold on
agencies.
a bit for us, Dr. Adaji. We cannot hear you clearly. Let's try to see how that will be sorted out, and then we will get back to the show. Apologies for that breaking transmission. We're hoping that we have Dr. Adaji joining us now on the show and would have a very smooth running. Welcome back again, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's just jump right into the very first question, what your assessment will be about Saturday's election.
So Saturday election for us is a litmus test for the forthcoming general election. Thank God it went successfully and went relatively peaceful, especially during the day of the election. But before the election, we had a series of crises, security concerns, and all of that. About 28 persons were killed based on reports, and a lot of pressures have to be mounted on the security agencies, right from Abuja, the Inspector General of Police, the Civil Defense, and all of that. But during the election, it was relatively peaceful to an extent because we did deploy, observers to the field, and we keep getting reports from them. For the election in general, INEC, preparation is different from performance. Preparation to an extent, if not for the late minute, addition of names to the ballot box, that INEC have to now start printing another ballot paper. And that affected the logistics. But in fact, we're even thinking the election was going to go into the night. But INEC tried to an extent, and they were able to beat the time. Okay. The election itself, the people came out to an extent. I think we had about 48% turnout, which is better than what we've been having before. And if that translates into the general election, imagine if we're able to have 60% turnout in the general election, it will be difficult for the political class to rig the election. To an extent, the turnout in Osun made it a little bit difficult for the political class to rig the election. And for us, it shows that if the people come out and vote, the vote will count. If the vote will not count, the political class will not be bringing money to the polling units to buy the vote. And so this is what we want the masses to know. And it did play out in Osun State. The election, the result was declared, and the right candidate, that the people voted for, won the election. Thank you to INEC, kudos to INEC for not allowing themselves to be under pressure to do the wrong thing. They did the right thing, they announced the right winner, and that's why after the election, you see that Osun is peaceful, because the people made the statement and their choice was, what INEC announced.
All right, Dr. Andrew, once again, thank you for being here with us. Earlier, you did mention the tensions that were built up, because of the election, because there were quite reports about politically motivated tensions within the area. We also had reports of concerns that have also been raised around the unresolved local government leadership crisis in Osun State. But from your perspective and your observation, how much did that atmosphere affect the election that eventually took place on Saturday?
So I think the people in the state were not happy with the federal might in the state, especially as it relates to the local government issues that you just mentioned. For, I think, close to a year now, the state government has not been getting allocation from the federal government. I'm not speaking for them, but it beats my imagination how the governor has been able to undo that and still pay civil servant salary down to the local government level. A lot of them, especially, we interacted with some of the citizens, and some of them are, civil servants. They are scared that if this man leaves, what becomes of their future? And they did make that statement. They did come out. They did voted. And we hope that after this election, the issue of the local government crisis will be resolved, so that the complete allocation will be given to the state, to the state.
All right, Dr. Adaju. Now, would you say that the elections for Osun on Saturday was credible? And if you think it is credible, what parameters do you use as an organization to judge whether the whole process was credible or not?
We did send election observers to the field. There were issues of vote buying, which has actually become a significant problem in our election. In our election in Nigeria. Okay. And so, to an extent, the results from the polling units actually did transit into what we have at the collation unit, and that was because the citizens were there to watch their votes. They watched their votes moving from the polling units to the collation, points. And also, we must also, give kudos to INEC for transmitting the result to the RF immediately. And we all saw that. And the people we sent to the field, our observers, they were in the polling units, and they observed some certain things that happened. Though there were votes buying. Okay. And that has become a serious problem for us as a nation. But the people of Osun did something unique. There were in some polling units that some party agent came with money. They sent them away with their money. They beat them and sent them away with their money. In some instances, they collected the money and still not vote. But for us, that is wrong. We don't want any money transaction during election. So collecting the money and still not vote is still wrong. It's still wrong. It's better you don't collect. And the political class need to understand this. You can't keep buying the people. Let the people select who they want. And in Osun, it did play out. The people selected who they wanted. Okay. And INEC announced the right person.
Okay.
INEC announced the right person. And that's why there's peace, there is jubilation in the city, all over Osun State.
All right, Dr. Daji, let's still take it back a little bit. Before the election, there were also reports of violent incidents, vandalism in different parts of the state in the ways, of course, that was leading to the election. But looking back now, did the security agencies and political actors do enough to prevent those tensions from spilling into the election day?
So yes, but I think the pressure that was mounted on the security agencies make them to do the right thing during election, the day of election. If you observe during the day of election, we didn't, experience killings like we did before the election. And that was because the civil society, the citizen, and all of us mounted pressure on the security agencies, and they did the right thing. During the day, during the election, that is the day of election, and also after the election, the state has been that peaceful, unlike before the election.
Okay. We had reports in certain polling units that, according to the accounts that you shared from Godwin's reports on the field, on Saturday. He said some stopped working and immediately was resolved. But there was a particular polling unit, I think it was at Ede, where he was, and he said there was just one INEC official present at the polling unit. And when, immediately after the governor had casted his votes and he left, that machine started to malfunction. And as at the time we spoke to him, no one was there to replace it yet. And you see, over 4,000 beavers machines were being sent out to Osun State to be used across the 30 local government areas in the state. And in fact, one of the major talk points for INEC has always been this technology. So yes, they tracked the event or tracked the election. It will be interesting to know at what rate did these beavers and this technology that is being devised, for the Osun elections, at what rate were they successful? Because if we're able to get statistics on that, then we might be able to say, okay, the amount of money that is being deployed for the use of this election, and maybe the presidential election as well, is not bad if we get a good outcome. Because according to them, funding is one of the major things that can will be able to determine if an election will go successful. Because then the materials are provided, technology is deployed, the security operatives or outfit that are going to be used are properly settled enough to different states so that they can monitor the election. So yes, beavers, technology, the success rate of this will also tell us a lot about how prepared we are for 2027 elections.
Very true. And again, based on the report that we got, we heard, of course, that the beavers machine, it worked really good and effectively on that day. Yes, there were some glitches as it is. And do recall, INEC also did mention that they might not be able to completely eradicate those glitches, but they will make provisions to ensure that once these glitches come on board, they can almost immediately replace the beavers or the machines that are having those particular issues. And those are some of the things that we heard, according to the reports that we had in the field, that INEC did eventually. And if you also get down to the IRF portal, results were uploaded in real time. At least we saw that. We were also following through with the analysis here on the platform, and we saw that we could basically take those results as it's been uploaded, on the IRF portal, which is to say as well that worked, and it worked effectively from our observation from this part, right? And linking it as well to the 2027 general election, which is futuristic, we hope that we're not going to now have a repetition of what happened in 2023, because according to INEC, some of the excuses that they gave us at the time was that they had massive traffic that came into the portal in 2023 general election, as against just one state or two states getting access to it. Now we know that in 2027, more Nigerians are going to be heading straight to the IRF portal, because we want to be able to monitor the
elections
election
in real time.
We want to see all of these things happening. So INEC has a responsibility now to prepare for that, to ensure that everything is ready. And of course, again, we said in Osun State, 4,000 beavers were deployed in one state. Now for the entire nation, each of the states, now when we're having general elections, how many beavers are going to be deployed to each of the states, knowing that some states are a whole lot more bigger than other states. Osun State, the number in Osun State cannot be compared to the number that we have in River State, for instance, or even in Lagos State, basically. So it means that the number that's been deployed for Osun State, for just the Osun State election, might be larger than the number of beavers deployed, for the general election in Lagos State. Now, so all of this as well, INEC has got to look at it and put all of these things in place. And kudos to the security agencies as well. We saw how effective they were on the day of the election, right? And I think it was also based on the fact that there's been calls from the presidency. Recall that the IGP even had to withdraw the commissioner of police then in Osun State and replace him with a commissioner of,
because of allegations of compromise.
Of compromise. So you saw that all of these things were proactive measures. So it shows that, right? If the people are talking, the government has got to listen. And if they can continue in this particular manner for the general election, I think the trust that we've been lacking on INEC, they might just be able to restore it, you know, moving forward.
And one of the biggest wins for INEC for this election, I'll say, is the fact that we've been able to move voters from the point where, like Ekiti, we had about 15% turnout of voters, and we have over 40% turnout for Osun State. Although there are certain environmental conditions that might be responsible for why people would come out to vote. There are certain factors. In fact, INEC has listed a few of them out as to why, you know, people from certain regions might not come out to vote. But whatever was done right for Osun State, I think should be replicated across different states and across different regions as well. If security happens to be the problem, we see that the number of security operatives that were deployed to Osun State was almost commensurate to whatever challenge they were going to face at that time. There were security operatives, according to accounts of our reporters that were on ground, the presence of security at least 6 to 7 in every polling unit that they had visited. See, structure is not... The reason for structure is not just to expand resources. Structure helps manage the resources and manage situations on time. So you see, if we're talking about ballot boxes being snatched, in most cases that has happened, the presence of security was little to nothing in those polling units. And I will take example from what happened in the FCT during the elections, the local government elections for the FCT. Anywhere we had accounts of ballot boxes being snatched, there was little to no security present over there. And in one case, the security operative or the security operator that was present on ground was part of the people as seen in the video that took the ballot box and carted it away. So for INEC, the biggest win this season, I think, would be the fact that more people came out to vote. If the reason for this was enough security presence, and I think that this should be a method that will be deployed for 2027 general elections, if it is protecting the trust of the voters by, you know, just so many other things that they have done, I'm sure that they have indicators and they would go back to do an assessment of what was right and what didn't work out for the elections in Osun State. However, I believe that it is possible to have free, fair, and credible elections. All we need to do is put a proper structure in place to make sure that this happens.
Very true. I know you heard the guest also talk about vote buying. That he mentioned that in some regions in Osun State, some areas in Osun State, that those that actually wanted to come buy votes, they were beaten and, of course, chased out of the area. Some other persons took the money, they didn't vote. These accounts, right? Some of these things, we still might be able to see them in 2027 if sensitization is not done properly, right? Individuals, we talk about the fact that citizens also play a role in this. I mean, if your vote is not up for sale, you're not going to have a buyer come on board, right? And mostly we get to see that political actors will want to induce some of the citizens within the particular area with especially the specific amount of money that they want to use in buying those votes. But if citizens are well informed, then there's every possibility that we might just be eradicating totally the concept of vote buying or even vote selling come the 2027 general election. Also, the problem of thuggery, intimidation in the build-up to the Osun State governorship election. We follow through some of the cases, intimidation. We follow through some of the thuggeries. We follow through some of the political motivated violence that happened in Osun State. You know, some of the deaths that were recorded, over 20 deaths recorded before the election day. And that also reminded us of the visit by the IGP. You know, when he went to Osun State, he said to them, listen, this is an election. This is not war. Let us vote and then ensure that, there's going to be free election going on there, in Osun State, basically. And then we got to also hear about the peace accord that was signed on July 30th, which of course encouraged political parties and all political actors to ensure that, hey, no matter the outcome of the elections, you must have to learn to shake hands and not to, perpetrate violence within the elections. Which is also to say that, Martha, if political actors understand that politics is not a do or die affair, then they will also get to know that there's no need to sponsor violence within the state. The allegations that in the previous elections, right, one of the windows that opened up to the insurgencies that we're experiencing now, banditry that we're experiencing now in our country, the allegations,
elections.
It was election, talking about the fact that people were imported out of our country in Nigeria to cause mayhem during the election time. If that is true, that could also be because most of our political actors sees this election thing as a do or die affair. It's a must. I must win.
Or maybe lack of patriotism.
Lack of patriotism. I mean, what is all of that for? And the picture they always they create for us is that they want to come and serve Nigerians. How would you serve the same people that you want to intimidate? How would you effectively serve people that you've already caused mayhem within the society for?
You love me so much, you have to intimidate me to accept
Come
it.
on. So there's a lot more that we can do. Just a reminder again, politics is not a do or die affair.
Absolutely.
Our election should not be run as if we're fighting a war, right? It's an election. People want to make their choice. If you lose, you have lost. And that's why, again, if you recall on Saturday, we talked about the fact that some persons have taken politics to be a business for them. And recall, everyone who does a business wants to make profit out of it. But we should learn to understand that election or politics is a public service game. Right.
All right. Now, before the elections, we went on the street asking the people of Osun State to tell us what their expectations for the election was. Now, we will take our minds back to that and we will do a bit of assessment based on what the people have said and what we saw on Saturday during the Osun State gubernatorial elections. Let's take a look.
Yeah, Oluwatimileyin Abdullahi. So my expectation about the election is I expect it to be free and fair because if you can notice, basically there are much security around. So I hope to be free and fair. I'm expecting just a free and fair election. No murder, nothing at all. So yeah, I'm expecting something good from the election actually. Yeah.
I'm Miss Oluwashoncle.
All right, so what are your expectations from this election?
Actually, we expect a free and fair election. It's peaceful already, we see there's securities everywhere, but we want it to really be fair. We don't want where there will be someone taking election, because now people are really buying votes, so we don't want to see that. That is really bad for what we stand for. We are supposed to be a peaceful community. So why would I have to sell my votes because of rise or some stupid token? If you are really doing well, you don't have to buy. Now, my people are kind of fidgeting. They are not used to this kind of security presence. So I pray we don't get to entertain the fear than the vote itself. I pray we'll see people coming out to vote because that will be a big deal.
My name is Blessing Olori.
All right, so what are your expectations from this election?
Okay, I expect a free and fair election, an election where people are allowed to practice their rights.
Okay, so when we say compared to previous elections in Osun State and the tension right now in Osun State, what will be your expectations even on tension level?
With the tension here and there, I believe people will be safer to, like they will feel safe to come out and vote.
Well, I love what one of the persons being interviewed said. She said the people of Osun State are not used to having this level of security presence within the state. And she's hoping that they will not entertain the fear of that rather than coming out to vote. But now we'll place side by side what the expectations were, which is what we just saw right now. And we'll look at what their experience was during the election.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So for the purpose of the camera, let's get to know your name.
My name is Asam Shakiru Okoyemi, one of the key stakeholders of this Unit 7 Ojisun, Sagbabo Ward 2.
All right, sir. So tell us what has been the process so far. What have you observed?
Well, so far so good. The process has been okay, despite the fact that we have a little challenges of a network issue at the commencement of the program, but we give thanks to God. Our presiding officers and other team that are working have been able to resolve it on time, and since then we have been enjoying a relatively peaceful atmosphere.
All right. So tell us about the security situation around this area so far.
We give kudos to our security operatives. They are so far so good. They have been trying to play a neutral game. There is no threat to opposition, despite the fact that the ward we had, the unit we had is a peculiar one. They have been trying to play a word, give everybody a level ground to carry out their exercise. We have been enjoying a seamless exercise since the morning. We give kudos to our security operatives. Thank you, sir.
Ọba tí ń ṣe ókọ dáadáa tí ń jẹ́ ló fi bù wá lẹ́dẹ̀ pé kọ́ máa ti àná kọ́ máa ṣerú rẹ̀ lẹ́dẹ̀ kọ́ máa ṣe lọ kọ́ máa ṣe lọ kọ́ máa ṣe lọ.
Báwo ló ṣe ibi ẹ ṣe wá jáde tẹ̀lé wá dìbò lẹ́nu?
Tó jẹ́ jáde náà ni pé bá à ń ṣe ń rí títì tí ń dá àti sólà kọ̀ tá à ń rí nínú ilé kódà ó tó ya tó là mí sínú chọ́ọ̀chì mi sínú ọgbà chọ́ọ̀chì mi ó yà sójú mọ́sáàsì sólà ó yà síbi tí àwọn ìyàwó kọ̀ọ̀kan ti ń tajà tí à ń tẹ̀kọ́ inú wa ń dùn o inú wa ń dùn kọ́lọ́hún ó jẹ́ inú wa ìhòòdò kalẹ̀ o. Wọ́n ní a má jáde lóòótọ́ ṣùgbọ́n àmì jáde o èmi jáde kọ́lọ́hún ràn lọ́wọ́ kó ràn wá náà lọ́wọ́ kó ẹ̀mí wọ́ tẹ̀síwájú sí i tó bá ti ń fún wa ní oògùn ìlera tí ń sì fún wa lówó oúnjẹ ẹ̀mí ìwọ́ yóò tún tẹ̀síwájú sí i àtọ̀mọ́ okun àtagbára aago 6 ni mo ti dé lónìí aago 6 àdájí mo ti débí torí pé ìgboro ni mo sùn ọ̀tọ̀ ní sáìtì mi ibi tó wà ó jìnnà òkè bàbá alájọ nílé mi bàbá alájọ ká ní sùúrù bàbá alájọ ká ní sùúrù nọ́mbà 57 nílé mi.
Alhaji Olawale Adekunle.
All right, so what can you tell us about the election so far?
We thank there's no problem. Everything goes smoothly. We thank God.
So the beavers, the agents from the polling unit, the security officers,
they are doing fine.
All of them?
Yes, they are doing fine. There's no problem.
So compared to last election and this one, which one is better?
This was far better than last year, than 4 years ago.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
We'll just talk about English.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
All right,
press.
so for the purpose of the camera, tell us your name, sir.
My name Alhaji Sani Abbas.
All right. So what you don't observe so far? What have you observed so far?
Everything now is going normally, is going better. But my prayer, let us everything go like that. If you go like that, it's not any problem again. Now that's my prayer.
So for the people that are old, are they giving them preferential treatment, or what do you think?
I will give them, but the problem I will get in this engine, the engine it can give us problem, can delay people to catch choppers and the capture hinger. Where I will get the problem with that.
Okay, so that's the only problem.
That's only problem, but not any problem now. But now, no problem. Thank you very much. So,
let me rest
so
my
good
case.
morning.
Good morning.
So just focus on it. For the most of the camera, let's get to know your name. Your name.
Okay, I'm Ambassador Oluseyi Deborah Muemeke, all the way from Osun State, and from Civil Society Organization for Community Advancement, a local accredited observer for this election process in Osun State.
All right, so tell us, what have you observed so far in this whole community? 4 polling units, almost 4 polling units together.
Oh wow, this unit has been credible, it's been great. I say the voters has been compliant. This is the unit where His Excellency the Governor of Osun State had casted his votes early hours of this morning. Even though we had a little hiccup with the slow performance of the beavers, and there has been a prompt call for backup, which is on the way. The INEC officials have been, competent, they've been doing their work, and the voters themselves are actually compliant. I think they listen to guidance and all that, and so it's been credible so far. We hope to sustain that, and we hope to have a violent-free election process in this very unit.
But the voters so far have expressed dissatisfaction with some of the conduct that we've observed, even as we've spoken with a few persons. How would you react to this coming from the voters?
I wouldn't know what they are complaining about, but to the best of my knowledge, just like I said earlier, the slow performance of the beavers is what was, eating them up, and that has been put under control by calling up for backup beavers, which is on the way. And we've actually tried, the INEC staff have tried, and we have given our support at least to organize and make it peaceful. So far, it's been credible and violent-free. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, Abeg, tell us, what do you think about the election so far?
As I see the people, everything they do well, then they do everything well. People come out. So as people they do, no anything, no fighting, no any rush, no anything. Everybody come out. So people they do anything, and people they do as they supposed to do. Then they do no fighting, no anything, no error, no.
The thing people they come on time.
They come on time. They come on time. Then they do them work their time.
Security people, they arrest anybody?
No, they don't harass anybody. They don't harass anybody.
Alright, so which message do you want to tell Nigerians?
As also people, thank God, say people come out, people they do a lesson as it's supposed to they do. So no fight anybody, no fight to anybody. So the thing they do as it's supposed to they do well. Yes. Thank you.
Well, we hear many people say that word on the streets will give you the most accurate analysis of what something is like. But what do you make of this, the before and the after?
And I think the before talked about their expectations, basically,
Yeah.
what they wanted the election to look like. And I think on the election, they actually got the expectation that they desired as well, because from the report I was seeing from the electorate, we could hear them say, well, there was no violence. You know, the only challenge that they had in some of those units is the beavers not functioning very properly. And they also gave the account that INEC, tried as much as possible to replace those beavers there. And I think that's a good call, and it's a very major thing to have been achieved now by INEC, to have been achieved by the Osun people as well. And I give kudos to them. The winners have been announced. IRF worked really, really effectively as well. But I think that in all, the people of Osun, I think they got what they were actually hoping for, as against the fear from the build-up of the election, the violence, all the violent talks as well. Everything changed on the election day, and I think they actually maintained the peace accord eventually.
All right, it's very beautiful to see that certain things that were mostly considered as impossible, for a very long time, can actually be possible. And if you listen to the account of the people on the street, they said it's not a case of these machines malfunctioning. It was mostly about it being delayed. So if INEC is paying a close attention, then they know what to fix. And this is the primary thing I'm very concerned about. Analysis of what it is like right now and what the potential of it becoming in 2027 is. But yes, before we go, to remind you, we were heavily represented, or ably represented as well, in Osun State to cover the elections. And in studio, we did certain beautiful analysis on the elections. In case you missed it on Saturday, please do head to our YouTube page at Official Rapid TV, and you can rewatch all of the analysis that was done on ground report, in studio analysis as well throughout Saturday for the elections and Sunday as well. It is at Official Rapid TV on our YouTube page. And yes, we are active across social media platforms. Of course, we did a bit of videos over there on the happenings in Osun State. You can get that on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, and on TikTok. It is at Rapid TV. www.rbnradiotv.com allows you to connect with us from anywhere in the world. And then, of course, on StarTimes channel 176, we are on free TV. Please download on your iOS and your App Store, and you'd find Rapid TV to get connected every step of the way. We still are committed to making sure that you are informed, educated, and entertained to your fullest capacity. My name is Martha Alu.
My name is Victor. Okay, we will see you tomorrow.